In the animal kingdom, gorillas often greet each other with a hug. Certain species of penguins propose to their partner with a pebble. Female lions do all the hunting for their family. Orcas live with their parents their whole lives. While every family is different and every family is unique, the truth is, they're still our fam.
What's up, everybody? We're in the middle of our series called FAM, that stands for, that's right, you guessed it, family. So today we're going to talk about something that every family has to go through. Now, I know not every family is the same, but no matter how different your families are, you will all have to go through this. Do you know what it is? It's called change. Now, if you're like me, your heart might start racing a little bit when you hear that word change. You're like, oh no, something is going to be different. I'm going to have to learn a whole new thing. We're going to have to do something completely different that we've done before. I was so set in my ways with the way that things were, but now you're asking us to change, and we're changing again. And you know what? Change is real. We deal with it in real life, and guess what? We deal with it in our families. I recently just went through a big change in my family, had a baby. Now, hopefully, none of you middle schoolers are having babies. Don't do that. Wait till you're married and wise and how you do all that. But I just had a baby, our first baby. Changes everything. Didn't know about how much poop there would be. Penny, our baby girl, is awesome. She doesn't cry very much, but when she cries, it breaks my daddy heart. I just can't handle it. She's teething now, and like trying to get a 5-month-old to sleep while she's teething, and you can't help her. It's a crazy change. I don't know I was prepared for that. So that was one huge change that happened in my life. But here's the deal. I love Penny so much. And I know it's cheesy, and you hear it all the time, but you hear like, you don't know what love is until you have a child, and then you understand. And they're completely right. You don't understand it until you have a kid. But no matter how tired I am, no matter how many poopy diapers I change, no matter how many spit-ups are happening on me, I love Penny so much. I wouldn't trade any of them for Penny. She's the best. She's the best. Change might not always be the way we think it's going to be. It might be scary at first, but sometimes change can be pretty great. Like with my baby girl, Penny. She's the best. Now, change of any kind can be hard, right? In some ways, though, we know that it's part of life. We know that classes will change next semester, or that rules our parents have for us will change as we grow up, or Fortnite's going to change the map once you figured everything out. What up? Chapter 2, Season 5. Those kind of changes aren't so bad, really. We see them coming, and in a way, we expect them. But change in our family, the one thing that's supposed to be consistent in our lives, is the one thing that we're told we can count on. And that kind of change is the worst. But the truth is, it's change we're all going to experience at some point in our life. Because in big and small ways, in good and bad ways, our families change. Maybe you gained a new person in your family, like Camille and I. We had Penny. It's awesome. So your family was like living one way, then you have another person in the house, like you're a new big brother, and you have a new little sister or something like that, or maybe it's a new step sibling or foster sibling, or maybe one of your parents got remarried. So a change in your family might be there's a whole new person now in our family unit, or maybe someone in your family got sick. Again, we're dealing with quarantine and COVID, and so now a lot of your family's time, energy, and effort is working towards helping the sick family member get better. And so that changes like maybe how much attention you get or how much anxiety you might have about your family member who's sick. So maybe someone's sick in your family. That's a change you guys are adapting to. Maybe you have an older sibling that left the house. Maybe they're off to college. Maybe they got married or decided to move in with your mom while you used to have to live with your dad. Just like that, things in our family were different because they were a part of our everyday life one day. And now, since they're not there anymore, things are different. They've changed. Or maybe your family changed because your circumstances changed. Maybe your dad got a new job, or you had to move into a new house, or maybe your mom started traveling more for work. And those things made it feel like so much of your family was changing. Or maybe it was a change that was really painful, one that you still don't understand. Maybe your parents got divorced, or your dad left, or your mom lost custody, or you got taken out of your home and away from your parents completely. Maybe you've been in and out of foster homes these past few years. Maybe one of your parents passed away unexpectedly, and all of a sudden, things weren't the same. Your family looks nothing like it used to, and it won't ever again. You didn't ask for that change, and you do just about anything to have things go back to the way they were. No matter what changes you're facing in your family, my point is this. It's not easy, and it doesn't usually feel good. Even if it is a good change, like your new house is cooler, or your baby sister is amazing, or your dad moved back into town, it still feels like change. You still have to deal with it. You still have to get used to it, and that's not always easy to do. So what do we do?
I don't know, Luke. What do we do?
If change is an unavoidable part of our family, what do? What can we hold on to when everything else is suddenly different? How do we handle it when our family changes? The good news is that the Bible gives us some amazing support and advice on how to get through challenging or difficult changes. If you're experiencing change in your family right now, or have experienced changes in the past, then you want to remember these important things. They're true yesterday, today, and forever. Number 1, God is with you. Number 2, God loves you. And number 3, God is unchanging. And God will give you the strength you need to get through the changes you may face in your family. Now, does it make the change any easier? No. Does it make it more enjoyable or something to look forward to? Not necessarily. But what I do think it does is that it gives us comfort and hope that God is with us. That's one thing that'll never change. Promise you, it's never going to change. God will always be with you. God knows the changes that we're experiencing. He knows how it impacts our families and how it makes us feel. Because of that, he gives us the promise to hold on to when we face change in our lives. Check out this passage from the book of Isaiah about change, about how God is always with us. When you pass through waters, I will be with you. When you pass through rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. That was found in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 2. So that might seem a little dramatic at first glance when we read that passage in Isaiah. Passing through rushing waters and rivers, walking through fire. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'd be terrified in those situations, especially the water stuff. I mean, fire's not great, but like drowning kind of terrifies me. The ocean is cool, but it's also not where humanity's supposed to be. It freaks me out. I don't like thinking about just floating in the ocean. We weren't made to be there. Now, you may not have to walk through fire or swim across the ocean. I think that why the writer writes those things to use examples for one really important thing that we can hold on to, dramatic as they are, is that God is with us. Isaiah shows us that you don't have to do this alone. When your family changes, God is with you. This is his promise to us, and it's a promise that never changes. In the midst of all the other change, that promise never will. Now, it doesn't mean the change that you're navigating will miraculously get better, or that we'll instantly feel super courageous though our family changes, but it does mean that we don't have to face the change, for better or worse, alone. Let's look at another passage in the book of Isaiah that shows you what I mean. It's Isaiah 41, verse 10. It says, "Don't panic, I am with you. There's no need to fear, for I am your God. I'll give you strength, I'll help you. I'll hold you steady and keep a firm hand on you." Because of God, we don't have to face change with fear. Sure, we may panic and be afraid. Those are normal, natural things. But in all that, God is with us. And not only is he with us, but he gives us strength to get through all of it. He'll give us courage to go on. He'll help us, he'll comfort us, and he'll love us. He keeps a steady ground for us when it seems to start to shake. He's with us and holds us in his hands. His love, comfort, and strength never fail. And that's something we can count on because it's something that will never change. I don't know about you, but I find it really reassuring to know that that's just a constant going on in my life. When everything else can be changing around me, I know that God never does. Because when your family changes, God is with you through all of it. So here's the question. What can we better do to respond to the changes in our family? First, I think we need to focus on what's going good right now. Look for the good in every season that you might be in. Because again, seasons change, but there's always some good in them. Now, going back to the change that Camille and I just faced in our family, having our first child, lots of changes happen. But again, I wouldn't change any of that. I love Penny so much, and I can see how her being in our family has caused me to change, but all of those changes have been for the good. Being more responsible, thinking of others more than myself, all those things help me reflect Christ better, and I would have been way slower on becoming where I am now with that if we didn't have Penny. I didn't have to represent Jesus to her as well. Out of all of the chaos of having a newborn baby in the house, I can still see all of the good that's in it, even though it's a huge change. Now, I recognize that might be more difficult for some of you. Some of you guys are going through family changes that are very dramatic and maybe even super painful. And so finding the good in those situations may be super, super difficult. But let's go back to what we just talked about, in that no matter where we're at, we know that God promises never to leave us, that we are not alone, and He will give us the strength to get through that. So if you can't find anything really good in your season, just remember that, hey, there's a God that knows you and loves you and is here for you when you're navigating those choppy waters of life, those big changes, okay? So even if you can't specifically pinpoint something good, you have this firm foundation in the back of your mind. God is with me. God loves me. God will help me get through this. That's a promise that never changes. Now, with that too, when we think about change, think about the rest of your family as well, because a family is not one person. It's not just you. It's several people in relationship together. And so for you, you have an opportunity to think about how your mom or dad or brother and sister, grandma, grandpa are navigating this change as well. Maybe they're dealing with some different things than you are. And maybe they're struggling to find the good in all of the new change. Well, maybe you have an opportunity just to sit down and maybe write them an encouraging note, or do a random act of kindness, like do the dishes without being asked, right? Or take out the trash, or pick up after your dog. You know the things that would be super helpful to your parents. You know them. So what if you just did them in the midst of a very chaotic, changing season to bless them, to help them? And maybe you can have an opportunity to help reassure your family member that even though the family's going through change, that God is with them too. God is with them, and will be with them and for them, and will help them get through it. Just like He's with you and will help you get through it. You get to be an encouragement to your family in that way as well. It's super, super cool, because you're not alone. You're on a team called the family. And remember, lastly, when your family changes, God is with you. Okay? Lock it in. When your family changes, and they will, God is with you. And God puts people in your life to help you get through those changes too. And that's why small groups are so important. I know we're on virtual time right now, and last week we did like our first kind of Zoom meeting hangouts, and I hope those were good. If you need connected into those groups, the links are in the description of this YouTube video below. They start at 6 p.m. on Sunday night, so be sure to check those out. And if you have questions about like family stuff, maybe you got some awesome volunteers that can help walk you through some of that stuff and navigate them together, right? Because small group is kind of a family as well. And so you guys get to work together, again, not alone, through all the different changes that might be going on in your family. We love you. We hope you've had a great week. Hope to see you in life groups on Zoom. Again, check the links in the description below, and we will see you next Sunday at 9 a.m. Peace.